morning, boys and girls. It's good to be back with you again. Let's have our morning hug. It's so good to be here again today. Now, this week we have a special holiday coming up, and we celebrate it by making hearts for people, and we tell them that we love them. It's a day when we think about people and our family and our mommies and daddies and brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles and our grandparents and how very much we love them. So we make them a heart-shaped Valentines. Now, this is the heart shape, but I want to tell you a secret. Our heart, our real heart, where we feel and we love people, is shaped more like your fist, and it's right here. So if you take your hand and put it right there, you can feel your heart beating. Be really still just a minute, and you can feel your heart. See? Now, when we think of Valentine's Day, we want to share love, we want to be nice to people, we give them different presents, we tell them how much we love them, and it's a day of happiness and love. So today, the story that I picked is about a mother that loves her little son so much, and her son loves her very much. It's usually a story that I read at the beginning of the year because it's about going to school. But I thought it was such a good Valentine story and such a nice story about loving one another that Mrs. Deitz decided she would read it to you today. You may remember, because Mrs. Deitz reads it every year, it's one of her very favorites. It's called The Kissing Hand, and it's about a raccoon, little raccoon, and his mommy. And he's going to go to school, and he's going to talk. So what kind of a story is this? Is this a real story or a make-believe? You're right. It's a make-believe story. But lots of times, make-believe stories can give us a message and tell us something that maybe we need to know. So this morning, Mrs. Deitz is going to read The Kissing Hand. Now remember, she's going to read the words like this, and then she will turn the book around and let you see the pictures. Chester Raccoon stood at the edge of the forest and cried. "I don't want to go to school," he told his mother. "I want to stay home with you. I want to play with my friends and play with my toys and read my books and swing on my swing. Please, Mommy, can I stay home with you?" Look at Chester. Chester is so sad. And you see the other birds flying around and the forest? Remember, we've talked about some different kinds, different places in the world. And a raccoon will live in a forest where there's lots of grass and lots of trees. Mrs. Raccoon took Chester by the hand and nuzzled him on the ear. She kissed him right there on the ear. "Sometimes we all have to do things we don't want to do," she told him gently, "even if they seem strange and scary at first. But you will love school once you start." Do we all have to do things sometimes we don't want to do? I know Mrs. Deitz does. She sometimes has to do the dishes, and she don't want to do that. But she has to do the dishes to keep things clean around her house. Here's Chester, and he's listening to his mommy and sitting on the grass. See the birds in the trees? And over here's a stump where a tree's been cut down in the forest. You'll make new friends and play with new toys. You'll read new books and swing on new swings. Besides, she added, I know a wonderful secret that will help your nights at school seem as warm and cozy as your days at home. Wait a minute. She said his nights at school. There's a word for night, and it's a great big word. It's called nocturnal. And a raccoon is a nocturnal animal. So the raccoon sleeps during the day, and he gets up at night. And that means Chester has to go to school at night. Here he is in the forest, and we see him with some toys. And then we see Chester up in his tree, and all of his friends are getting ready to go to school. Chester wiped away his tears, and he looked interested. A secret? What kind of a secret, Mommy? A very old secret, said Mrs. Raccoon. I learned it from my mother, and she learned it from hers. It's called the kissing hand. Kissing hand? Asked Chester. What's that? Here Chester is really interested in what you can't see his mommy in the picture, but you can see the paw. And he's talking to his mommy. I'll show you, Mrs. Raccoon said. She took Chester's left hand and spread open his tiny fingers into a fan. Can you take your hand and put it up like this and make a fan? Leaning forward, she kissed Chester right in the middle of his palm. This part of your hand is called your palm. So she leaned over and she kissed it. Chester felt his mother's kiss rush from his hand to his arm and then to his heart. Even his silky black mask tingled with a special warmth. And look what they show for love. They're showing all of the hearts because he felt so much love when his mother kissed his hand. Mrs. Raccoon smiled. Now, she told Chester, whenever you feel lonely and need a little loving from home, just press your hand to your cheek and think, Mommy loves you, Mommy loves you, and that very kiss will jump to your face and fill you with toasty warm thoughts. See, she's given Chester some big hugs, but she's showing Chester how he can always take her love with him and keep it in his heart. She took Chester's hand and carefully wrapped his fingers around the kiss. Now, do be careful not to lose it, she teased him. But don't worry. When you open your hand and wash your food, I promise the kiss will stick. Look at the beautiful autumn tree. And here's Chester talking to Mommy. And they're getting ready for Chester to go to school. Chester loved his kissing hand. Now he knew his mother's love would go with him whenever he went to school. And look at all the hearts. Chester is so filled now with Mommy's love that he knows that anything he does, he's going to be okay. That night, Chester stood in front of his school and looked thoughtful. Suddenly, he turned to his mommy and grinned. "Give me your hand," he told her. Look, it's nighttime, and they're headed to school. But he wants his mother to show her hand. Chester took his mother's hand in his own and unfolded her large, familiar fingers into a fan. Next, he leaned forward and kissed the center of her hand. See, the animals are all up in the tree getting ready. There's the possum, and here's Chester kissing Mama's hand. "Now you have a kissing hand too," he told her, and with a gentle goodbye and "I love you," Chester turned and danced away. So he knows he has his mother's love with him, and he's very happy now to go to school with all the other children. Mrs. Raccoon watched Chester scamper across a tree limb and enter school. And as the hoot owl rang in the new school year, she pressed her left hand to her cheek and she smiled. The warmth of Chester's kiss filled her heart with special words. "Chester loves you," it rang. "Chester loves you." Mommy's watching Chester go into the tree to go to school. And look at all the animals in the night school that they're going to. Today, Mrs. Deitz wants you to take your hand and hold it up and kiss it. And when you go home, you do that and give your mommy a kiss and your daddy a kiss and all the people that you love, that you live with and love. And remember on Valentine's Day to have a nice day filled with love. And Mrs. Deitz will see you again next week. Goodbye.